You're such an asshole.
Hello, children. All right, today's we got a good question today, and the answer will be sponsored in part by, once again, all this little Bachelor Pad Economics, and the other one, Reconnaissance Man, which is too far underneath the pile of books there. The links to both of which are down below. So if you have searched this, you're like, oh, I want to learn more from this guy with the hat. You go there and read through it, and you don't have to pay me lots of money. Good question here. Cappy, how do you structure your investing priority, i.e. 401k, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, debt, mortgage card, credit card, health savings account, and money market? Well, money market? No. Do you like losing your money to inflation? Sock fun. My thoughts have been 401k up to employer match 100% return, debt with interest above 10%, maximize health savings account. I factored that in. If you're young, no. If you have health insurance, no. And obviously this is not going to be a universal or universally applicable list for everyone, because it's going to depend on how old you are and how good is your education. Like if you're a baby boomer and it's 61, it's time to get serious about retirement, so I bought an RV for $120,000 and we only use it twice a year. I wonder if I should get rid of it. And I reverse mortgage my home. I mean, that's going to have a lot different. That's going to be a lot different than, well, I'll be honest. If you're that baby boomer who's, I'm going to get an RV and drive across America really slow in the left lane, 'cause YOLO, that's what the young kids say, Ma. They say, yeah, remember we co-signed our grandchild's loan and the student loans, and he didn't pay it back, and now we're on the hook for $187,000 for a master's in classical piano. Yeah, well, that's all right. Money printer went burr. If that's your case, some free advice from Asshole Consulting. You're going to work till you're dead. You're just going to work till you're dead or your body poops out. But and then you'll white collar panhandle. But I'm on a fixed income and I partied and did a lot of pot and had a lot of sex in the 60s and 70s. And even though there was a booming economy from Reagan all the way on to, God almighty, Obama, I didn't save anything. I was saying, come on, baby, like my, so aside from you people who aren't my audience, yeah, you'll just be working till you're dead. But for those of you younger and all that, I'm going to target you people because you actually have time to save now and invest and not end up with a reverse mortgage. But Bob Barker said I could live in my home. Where it gets a little murky is low interest loans. Vehicle, house, mine are 1.99 and 2.99. Stocks, money market, or back to maxing out 401k. Unless I need monthly cash, I'll usually enjoy cheap loans and try to max out investments and have a possible 5 to 10% return. How do you prioritize investments in debt? Also, do you believe in the 3 to 6 months of expenses max in a bank account? I would say 6 months. I'd prefer a year. I know a lot of people say, oh, I mean, more the better. It's like crypto. Like, well, crypto's pretty expensive now. How much should you? I mean, ideally one Bitcoin or the equivalent thereof. That's expensive, more, silver, same thing. I recommend 200 ounces per person. How much do you recommend? 200 ounces, but more the better. I mean, obviously more the better in every case. But yeah, three months minimum. And I'd go up to 6 before you invest in anything else. So I sat down and you got a pretty good list. I'll admit it's a pretty good list. Your logic is very solid for your average person who is an indebted RV driving baby boomer. We're going to go to Sturgis, aside from those people. Or the now legions of Gen X people who are like in their 40s and 50s. Well, I still have student loan debt. Oh, no. I'm going to become a boomer, too. We were so cool with the John Hughes movies. Hey, remember Heathers? There's an obscure one. All right. Are you a Heather? All right. So this is pretty good. But there's a couple things that are missing. I think are going to be imminently more practical, especially the younger you are. especially the younger you are. And with it Christmas time coming up, I'm not joking, kids. I'm not joking. There's an item on this list, a couple items on this list you should be asking for Christmas. But in particular, there's one set. So let's go through the priority. All right. Now, this assumes average Joe, and you're not 61 and a half. No, I'm going to get serious about retirement. All right. So here it is. All right. First, your micro FU fund or your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months savings. I would say 6 months ideally, 3 months minimum, 6 ideal, more the better. All right. And the reason for that is not only in case your car breaks down, you're not dealing with towing and all that other stuff. I would also say that you will avoid one of the worst things that screwed me over. And that was you got into the job hopping path, where if you get a bad boss, a bad employer, and you will, but if you're poor, you don't have mommy and daddy Warbucks backing up, or the government in this case, you have to stick with that job, and it just wreaks havoc on your mental health and your physical health. And then you end up quitting anyway. Like, you're a job. And then they're like, oh, then the good companies exist. Somebody go watch Josh Fluke. The better companies won't hire you because you're a job hopper. Now, I don't know how common that is nowadays, but that was the bad thing. But if I had a micro FU fund instead of paying down my debts all the time, I would have been in a much better position. You need some operating cash. That's what's called operating cash. You need some cash reserves. So the second some gray hair boss lies to you, changes the job title on you, the duties aren't as described in the job. Again, go watch Josh Fluke. You could say F you, goodbye, and you were there for 2 days, and you don't even bother putting that on your resume. That doesn't even show up, man. So that's the important one. That's your number one thing, is the micro FU fund. Then correct, your first quote real investment would be to have a 401k, 403b, 457 match. You contribute up to the match because that is free money. All right, so that's going to get you the next highest rate of return. After that, debt with interest above 10%. High interest debt. Let's just call it high interest debt. If you got a credit card paying, you got to pay 24% on, get rid of it. That's a risk-free rate of return of 24%. So that's also a no-brainer there. All right, now we get into some interesting things. The next thing I'd recommend, although you can ask for this for Christmas, I'm serious, it's not that expensive. You want tools, okay? Especially if you're a guy, because girls, you're going to get tools and you're going to look at them, and you're not going to become a mechanic or a computer repairman or a carpenter. But the younger you are, the better off you are learning how to fix your computers, especially your cars. And down the road, if you could do some carpentry, that's going to help. Out of the three, I would get your mechanic, regular old tools, then computer tools, and then carpentry. But if you happen to own a home, yeah, get some carpentry tools, because you are going to earn back that money. And they're not that expensive. Go to Harbor Freight, get some tools. Your parents, they say, what do you want for Christmas? Give me a tool set, socket wrench, regular wrench, a power impact drill, drill bits. What else? Hammer, level, straight edge. That's going to come in handy. Yeah. So, and then go on YouTube and learn how to fix cars and computers and do your own carpentry. So it's kind of like going to like mini college, except it differs from college in two ways. One, it's a very short you teach yourself by project. Oh, I got an 87 Chevy that needs repair. So you go look it up specific to that. And the other thing, unlike college, this will have a positive rate of return. You'll actually earn back the money you spent on this. It's funny because it's true, and it's not me. That's the other thing. It's always funny when somebody else is in pain, especially by the hand of their own stupidity. Right, liberal arts midges? Huh? Huh, liberal arts? Huh? So there's that. Now, closely related, we could almost consider them one and the same. I would recommend you get a secondary car. If you have not read Bachelor Pad Economics, don't say that doesn't make no sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to regular people, but if you want to become a better than average person, I don't mean morally, just smarter than average, get that book, Bachelor Pad Economics, and read about cars. Because cars are the second, well, they were the second until college came along. First, it was housing was your most expensive thing. Then it was cars, and then it was tuition. But now it's tuition, maybe even healthcare, and then cars. But cars are a very large expense, especially for you boys, okay? Because let's just admit you're going to spend a lot of money on cars to get to girls, which you shouldn't do. But you should have a second car, especially when you're poor and young, because your primary car is going to break down, because that is also a piece of junk. And we'll see it. Or if not that, please get a AAA subscription, okay? So you get free towing. That's worth $100 a year or whatever it is, right? Get the AAA subscription. So you got that. All right, now after that, and also keep in mind, that would be your critical, like you do this, do this, do this, do that in sequence. Here now you can, it's not like you do this and not until you're done doing this do you do the rest of these things. Here you kind of concurrently invest in these things, but there still is a priority. So you're like, should I throw in more in an IRA? I should throw more into silver. We're going to go in this order, right? Silver is the other thing. The reason I like silver is because you could get try and get to at least 50 ounces. I know it depends on the price of silver, but try to get 50 ounces. Ask your family for silver during Christmas or your birthday. You want to get to 200. It doesn't have to be all in one shot, but this is kind of one, especially if you're not so young, you're middle age or in your 30s and you got some money and you're like, what should I do? Just knock it out. $2,000 ounces of silver. Fresh and fit, right? What should I say? Just buy it, man. What if the price goes down? Dude, your time is so valuable. It's not worth worrying about. Just get it, be done with it. Now you got some silver. You're good to go, man. So I'd say silver. Another thing, generally speaking, not generally speaking, literally speaking, 80% of you that went to college wasted your entire time there. You just wasted it. Terribly sorry. It's not an opinion. Don't give me your words. It's not all about money, you capitalist pig. Well, then don't ask for a bailout, you commie piece of parasite. All right. You will realize most of you are going to have to go back to education for some kind of, I don't know, employable skill. Really? But also for those of you who did go to school for a legitimate thing, sometimes your highest rate of return is not going to be an IRA, health savings account, paying off debt. Sometimes a perfect example would be going from an accountant to a CPA. That is a much higher return on your investment. And it depends on who you are. Like, I got my master's degree in education. Great. Okay. Go make your extra 12 grand a year and then bitch and whine about how you're unpaid. Okay. But if you're an engineer and there's another certification that say costs you $5,000, but your boss is willing to pay you another 15 grand a year if you got that certification. Obviously, just a general rule of thumb, if you can get 100% rate of return in a year, do it. So, and then the other thing about your education is what we're really talking about is gearing yourself up, improving the value of your labor. And so that's a natural hedge against inflation. So an hour of your time today commands whatever, $40 an hour. But with money printer go burr via Trump, Obama, and Biden, all right, that has a natural hedge. We say, okay, it's $80 5 years from now and $120 10 years from now. And, like a dentist, they're just going to charge more and more. A mechanic, they'll just charge more and more. Why? Because you need them more than they need you. And money printer went burr, and they got their costs are going up. The ceramic filling for dentists, their supplies go up in price. The oil and the tools go up in price for the mechanics. They have to pass that on to you, and they can. You know why? Because your car won't work. You won't be able to chew food otherwise. So, getting some additional skills, certification, or going back to get a real degree with real job prospects, that is probably one of the better investments that you don't see. And I don't care if you're tired of college. I don't care if you're tired of trades. You got to go and get some kind of and that's going to increase all the future labor for the rest of your life. So, I mean, pretty much anybody who has a liberal arts or social science degree, you get to go back to college. But this time it ain't the college experience. This time it's like you get to learn the math. You get to actually learn a skill. I know you're going to have to work. all the hard stuff. I thought I just major in poetry. Yeah, okay. Enjoy working at the truck stop. All right. So some kind of investment in your education. The next thing, I would do reconnaissance. That is the second book linked below, Reconnaissance Man. And a lot of people don't think about this, but think about all the money that people in New York waste. Where does everybody in New York end up anyway when they're old and about to die? Florida. They all go to Florida. If you were born, the second you come past that finish line, you come out of the chute. All right, you should be applying for. You should move to Florida. Now, if you're an infant and all that, and they like to stick you in, and we're going to have you stay here in the education system and all that. But reconnaissance man and doing reconnaissance, figuring out where you live, is a high ROI, a very wise investment of your time and money. And it's kind of fun too, because you get to travel around. Now, it's not like you get to go and have fun. Like a perfect example would be Vegas. If you were going to reconnoiter Vegas, you don't go to the Strip, right? Reconnaissance is not an excuse to go and be a tourist. You go and you travel and you figure out where you'd want to live, if this is a place you want to live. So if you went to Vegas, you were going to reconnoiter Vegas, you would go off Strip, you go to Henderson, you go to Green Valley, you go to Sloan, you go, well, you wouldn't really go near North Side, you go far North Side. If you could swing it, if you're Dr. David Perrodin and ultra wealthy, you go out to Summerlin, luxury, like Kevin and Mitch. And I would tune in to the Tipping Odds Vegas podcast. If you're interested in Vegas, they tell you all about the news in Vegas. You would not go to the Strip and party and nightclub because you're not learning about what it's like living there. You may want to conduct reconnaissance overseas, right? So you go with Seth. I think he's down in Thailand somewhere. Maybe you want to go back to Russia. I don't know. You go and you travel around. And then instead of buying, and this is what everyone does, everyone buys a house and then they sell it because they have kids. And then they sell that house because they got to move. And then they got to buy another house because that. And every time you're paying 7% commission for the sale broker and the purchaser broker. And moving sucks. And you're filling your house with a lot of crap. It's like, hey, I got an idea. How about you figure out where you want to live and you move once and you buy one house? You will save $100,000 easy. More if you include all the crap that you're not going to buy, all the wasted labor and all the time you're not going to move. So I think figuring out where you want to live in this world is much more important than your IRA or, paying off your low debt and health savings accounts. So we got reconnaissance. All right. Next thing. Yes, I would invest in some kind of Roth investment. It could be a Roth IRA, Roth SEP IRA. I would also concurrently, if this is assuming you're a W-2 employee, if you are at that point where you can look at capital gains free investments, which are not guaranteed because the Democrats would probably rescind that contract with you, but you guys keep voting in socialism anyway. If you're there and you're a W-2 guy, cool. If you had an entrepreneurial itch, this is where you start your entrepreneurship. Because you got the skills, you know where you want to live, you got everything you got everything secured and insured, your silver, your tools, your skills, your backup car. You should be pretty stable by this time that if you want to try your hand at some kind of entrepreneurial gig, you could do it. So entrepreneurship is there. Then here's the problem with with crypto, is you inevitably want to move towards a portfolio of crypto. So crypto would be your next investment that amounts to one Bitcoin. Now, why you pick one Bitcoin, Aaron? Was it an economic analysis? Nope. I looked at my thumb and I ruled it. It was a rule of thumb. I have no mathematics. But here's why I say micro investing in crypto. You want to buy little bits and pieces, slowly moving your way towards the equivalent of one Bitcoin. And the reason I say slowly is because, dude, cryptocurrency is so pricey and it is so volatile that this is really an insurance product there. So that's what I'd do there. Then would become your real estate fund. Real estate meaning that you're going to start, and again, a lot of this, like, so your silver, your education, your reconnaissance, maximum crypto, real estate fund, all these would be concurrent investments. I'm just prioritizing them. Like if you had to choose one or the other, here's where you go. So keep in mind, you'd be doing these more or less all at the same time. Then you're accumulating a down payment for real estate. Several ways you can do that. You can live at home and not pay rent. I used to be very adamant against people living at home, especially young men, because you weren't a real man. And technically, in a certain sense, you're not now. And oh, by the way, ladies, if you live at home, and especially if mom and dad pay your rent or help with the car, you're not a strong, independent woman. You are parasitic and dependent. Anybody who lives anyway on anyone, government, agencies, nonprofits, charities, if you live off of other people, you are a parasite and you are dependent. But now, because money printer went burr and Obama promised free things and Trump made money printer go burr, now we have even more free things under Trump. A lot of that money ended up in the housing market. You can't afford housing. And especially for men, the reason I was like, don't live at home, a real man, was under the presumption you would inevitably move towards being an accomplished, self-supporting man. And not only in the backdrop of inflated housing prices and therefore rent, and so like, yeah, stay at home, save your money. There's really no reason, unless you're a very good looking dude, unless you're a top 10% guy, it's not like you're going to find a girl. Another book you may be interested in, I don't have it here. I don't have it listed below, but the Book of Numbers, analyzing the ROI and the pursuit of women, especially for you boys. I know it's not an investment. It's basically avoiding a huge expense. Please do not waste your time going, like, how can I afford all this? Okay, stop chasing girls. Don't be on the dating sites. Don't go to nightclubs. Stop spending money on super chat girls or OnlyFans girls or all that other stuff. If you have to pay for it. That's cheaper than traditional means. I'm just being honest about economics here. I'm terribly sorry. But you'll get enough savings if you dedicate your time and efforts towards improving yourself, and you have more. A second job is a much better return on investment than going to nightclubs. But that's kind of going away. Larger point. Especially for you guys and you girls too, you might as well live at home, because it ain't like you're going to go find someone who wants to get married at 25 and is serious and is a supporting adult. Most people in the dating range, in their younger 20s or mid 20s and late teens, ain't none of you adults, ain't none of you going to be not living off the government or your parents or someone. Ain't none of you ever been forced to live in the real world, and ain't none of you financially stable. Some few people are, but nobody is ready to get married. So there's really no reason for you to have a house, or really even a place to have your own rental apartment. There really isn't. And even then, I'd almost wait until you found a special someone, and then you get a month-to-month place to rent. Not with them, just on your own, so you can see what it's like. And you don't even move your stuff in there. You live in your parents' place. And you're like, oh, yeah, she went back to her ex-boyfriend after a month and a half. All right, glad I did month to month. Thanks, Cappy. You saved me money again. I'm here for you, kids. Thank you, Chuck Norris. So I would be living at home, saving up money for a down payment. A lot of people say, well, inflation is this. How do I avoid inflation? Well, a way to do it is you invest in a real estate investment trust, which should generally fall down. Keep in mind, real estate can go down too. But as the housing market goes up and down, so should a well-diversified real estate investment trust, which is a mutual fund of real estate properties. And so you could throw your money into that, and that should generally match the inflation or deflation within the real estate. So you're not really losing purchasing power. Or near cash, like you could, I guess, high bond fund or inflation adjusted, but something to maintain keeping your powder dry. So you have that. Then after that, I would look at your debt that has an interest rate fairly above inflation. Like right now, inflation is 6.2%. That's on the low end. It's probably much higher. So if you had 8%, that's a 2% real rate. But if you had 12 or 14%, yeah, I'd pay that off. I would pay that off. But if you have anything under inflation, like you got inflation is 5% and your mortgage rate is 4%. Hell no. Let Biden bucks pay that off. Let the Democrats pay that off. Money printer go burr. You let the Federal Reserve pay that off for you. So, if you're in the onesie, twosie real interest rate you're paying, if you back out inflation, I don't know, I'd leave it. But by this time you get to hear, you probably got really good finances. And then, maybe then I would worry about an HSA. If you're older, sure. Or you got a condition, sure. If you're younger and you got health insurance, not really. You should be getting like minimal health insurance, like catastrophic insurance. But if you were younger and you want to look at something, I mean, you'd have to have. Well, I'd put fun in after this. This would be like, you've done more than 98% of American pieces of crap. Most Americans are like, I need more money from other people. We're home of the brave and strong. Give me money. China produce things for me so I don't have to. Yay! I got money for the Federal Reserve. I gave it to the Chinese people. And they made maybe everything. I'm strong, independent American with my liberal arts degree. I'd go have fun, man. I would even have fun before I go with an HSA. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be going out and having fun. But then maybe this is a big maybe you want to look at annuities. Maybe, just so you know, annuities by their very nature are money losing propositions. Okay, so maybe I just throw money into a non-tax treated account. That's actually what I just get, a regular old stock account. And then maybe after that, I would look at annuities, but it's essentially income insurance. But you need to have some gray hair before you're looking at that. That's what I would do. And there you go. That's kind of the priority. So it's not a universal roadmap for everyone. Obviously, you would tailor it a little bit to your to your specific situation and age. But there you go. And that's that. And just so you know, so few people are going to make it to that level. I mean, I have a minimalism class coming up. I should probably link to it below. Go to the Cleary School of Economic Philosophy. Just search that on the internet. It'll take you to the Teachable account. Sign up through the school. It doesn't cost you anything. But then I get your email and I email you and I let you know when my minimalism course comes up. Let's say you lived at home. You went to night school or online college, got your prereqs out of the way, and you did everything right. I mean, by the time you get to, most of you are not going to be able to afford a full Bitcoin worth of cryptocurrency, at least until you're 30. Like by the time you square all this other stuff away. But what will really help out is learning about minimalism. And if you feel the compunction to go out and party and take girls out to nice places and buy fancy cars and fancy clothes, and you say, boy, I wish I could look like crap, an unshaven middle-aged slob like Cappy with hand-me-down sweaters and a crappy hattie bought for $2.17 at Walmart. If you wish to be that, take that class, my minimalism class. It's going to be opening up on the 26th, midnight 01 on the 26th, Mountain Time. And that it's $500, by the way. It ain't cheap, but if you got spending problems, none of that, all that list is academic and theoretical. If you spend more than you make, you ain't going to ever get there. If you don't have money to invest, you'll be poor forever. 2, your life will be ruined. I do mean that. This one little existence on your life will be gone. And so that list doesn't apply if you don't have money to invest in these things. And 3, you're going to be a miserable. You might as well not even have existed. But if you learn to spend less than you make, you're going to have more money to invest in these things. And you're not going to be a 67-year-old like, oh, I don't have enough money for retirement, but I'd like to retire. Too bad, Gramps, you get to work. It was fun going to the Rolling Stones concert, was it? Yes, that's right. Yeah. Well, if you didn't marry that crazy woman and get divorced, you might have actually had some money. Yes, but you got married and got divorced. She took half. And oh, does my mom have? Oh, no, she blew it all on. Stupid crap women blow their crap on. Nobody. You don't want to be a boomer. Okay? So learn minimalism. And there you go. All right. Let's go to the super chats if there are any. We got a couple here. With the new and improved YouTubes that allows us to scroll back. I know, I saw that. I don't think she had $350,000 in debt. But Dave Ramsey, who I actually like because he's getting the message out there. Yeah, man. Big, wide, exposed flank. We can maybe even do a video on Dave Ramsey's. Oh, you know what? I think I am going to do that. Let me do that. We'll do the Ramsey Prager exposed flank. That'll be a good one. We'll do that next. That'll be a fun one. I could do some original. SJ, 2 Canadian bucks. What's it like being the world's greatest economist? Well, it's exciting. Let me tell you, all the awards I didn't get, because if you get the Clark Award or the Nobel Prize in economics, that is a guarantee you're not the best economist. It's like any, like the Oscars. If you won Best Picture, it is proven to be true. It's proven to be true. You did not have the best movie. It's boring, and it's not an accomplishment because most economists suck so much. And I will admit I had unfair advantage compared to all the other economists. I did not go and get a degree in economics. I only have a minor in it, and then I just read. I did number crunching. Terabytes of empirical data. Terabytes. Tons of data in chart, and I removed all feelings. I removed all politics. I said, what's happening? And I said, this is what's going to happen. And all the other economists, you're a bad economist. How dare you claim President Suharto is going to lead Indonesia into financial ruin? You're bad economist. Look that one up. There's an obscure one. .coms are going on forever. And it's like being the least popular kid in school. It's not fun, but you're proven right in the end. You get to dance on their graves. Literally, sometimes there's like I want to find an old boss of mine, 2 old bosses of mine. Both of them are dead. I like to dance on their graves. Literally. Joy Davis, $5. Should I be contributing to an income? My man wants traditional yet modern. To an income. My man wants traditional yet modern, but I do not feel like him provide both. Please advise. Oh, you mean like you should provide an income? Well, if you don't have kids, yes. I mean, okay. What kind of life do you want? This is the first real house I've owned where I'm responsible for the whole thing, not a duplex or a triplex where I got my little hut, my little 1-bedroom. Homekeeping, there's a reason there was a mega good housekeeping, because it was a dang near full-time job to keep a house. I mean, you have to contribute labor in some way. You can't just be sitting there eating your bonbons. So whether that's maintaining the home and running the errands, which is perfectly fine. That's supporting a household. That's a real job. Or if you guys got it down, or you live in a condo and there is no maintenance or upkeep on the house, then yeah, you should be doing something. Otherwise, you're a parasite. And then if you had kids, you want to do tradition, then obviously your job would be raising the kids. Yeah, but you got to go do something. But then again, if you both agree, like he's like, no, it could be this. He wants you to be hot and stay in shape. All right, your job then is to go to the gym and go get the appropriate food and cook for you guys to maintain a healthy meal. I mean, oh my gosh, now that I'm especially like super busy, I'm like, oh dang, yeah, I could see an incredible value of having someone cook healthy meals at home, because there's just only so much time in the day. So yes, you could contribute in some way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a job, but that depends on what you want. Like there's a lot to be said for like, hey, you stay hot, keep my ball sack dry, keep the house in order, and we're just going to go have fun, and I'll go do the work. The outside the house work. Then we come home, we go out for cocktails and dining. You don't got no kids. Oh, that's perfectly fine. You must contribute though in some way. But if it's like, he's like not, he's old and he's lost his sexual drive, and, you guys live in a condo and you go out and eat anyway. Well, yeah, you probably should go get a job. I don't know what you would do mentally otherwise. I mean, especially if there are no kids involved or the kids are out of the house. But I do not feel like him provide both. Please advise. Yeah, have a chat with your husband. Figure out what you guys want to do and do it. But you cannot be a parasite. You just can't be lying on your ass. Can't just be sitting there watching TV and the Oprah show. No, go do something. Not only because that's disrespectful, you're essentially parasiting off of your husband, but you're wasting your life. You got to do something. Something. Blue Orion, $5. Harbor Freight are not that good at tools, but the angler grinder I got for $30 managed to help me do an $800 worth of work, and I did them myself. Yeah, I mean, it's starter. I mean, okay, look, if your parents are charitable enough or you got the money, yeah, go get some Stanleys. Go get some Milwaukee power tools. Go get Ryobi. I'm just saying for people to get started, you know. Eric Burns, Marsh, $5. Yo, Mr. Celery, you forgot to mention bro. Options trading, brah, and currency trading. And flipping houses, bro. No, you know what? You should all go on the internet and become internet celebrities and life coaches. Everyone should become a life coach now. Libertarian dictator. Clever. $5. Friend was corrupted by dude bro salesman coworkers. Now he always says, just finance it, bro. You can always make more money. Yeah, no. He obviously has never been through a real recession. I do not consider the housing crisis I do consider the housing crisis a recession. I do not consider this latest disease we've had a recession because he just gave everybody money. Colin Kircher, $2. Dude, bro, classical piano guy needs a Carlson MBA. Hey, at least look, now I was hard on him, but he needed a slap across the face and a kick in the nuts. And a kick in the ass, too. He needed all three. He ain't going to go waste Carl online. It's 90 grand for the Carlson MBA. I saved him 90 freaking grand. Don't tell me I don't provide good ROI over here. Nonstop Dre, our well-endowed blackmail agent in the field. $2. Cappy best investment, Carlson MBA. I got where is it? I had my degree right here. I gotta get off my ass and sell that darn thing. Current bid is $450. If you want to bid more than that, email me over at assholeconsulting.com. Be strong, $2. Do women hate other women more than they hate men? On average. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a lot of hate to measure both ways, man. Because obviously not all women hate men or other women. And if we talked about men, like if you're a top 10% guy, they don't hate you. They don't love you either. They really want you as an object, I guess. Does that make more sense? They desire you. They're desirous of you. And maybe they hate you if you don't commit to them. And the other 80% of men or 90% of men, I don't think they hate you. I think they just don't care. Like, hate would indicate some kind of original investment in you, that they actually liked you at some kind or they paid attention to you. I think you're really just, you don't even factor in. You don't exist. If you talk to them and hit on them, then they hate you because you're insulting them. Like you think you stand a shot with them. And so you're saying, I think you're as ugly as me is essentially what you're doing. And then as for whether they hate women more than they hate men, I don't know. I would love a female. We need females. Where are the females in our outfit here? Atham's always lazy on the job. He ain't doing his job. He's letting them in. He's like Swiss cheese. They're coming in like rats. They're all over the place. So for the females in there, I'd be very curious if women hate other women or men more. Manoj Pun, $5. Our ballroom dancing agent in the field. He's taking over. He's the new ballroom dancing guy. I'm not the ballroom dancing guy. $5. Hey, Cappy, how much do you think a man should save before turning 30? Depends where you are, man. If in the ideal world, if you played it right, engineering, blah, 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 100,000. You should have a net worth of 100,000. So however you have that invested assets, you should have 100,000. Now that's very hard given the average person is lied to about everything, but the average person, male or female, doesn't matter. I'm not kidding. If you read this darn book, especially you boys, if you got the book of numbers, oh my God, this alone, cash, forget investment costs, cash, you save $265,000 by the time you're 40. All right. I mean, that's retirement right there. Do you want to hey, here's how you can retire for $12.95 or whatever that costs on the internet. You can retire. There's your free retirement. Well, it's not free. It's $12.95. Or maybe it's $15.95. I don't know. You can even get the better Bachelor edition where Joker wrote a 9-page intro or the regular one. But yes, if you don't screw up, you should be able to have $100,000 net worth. That's totally doable. Nonstop Dre, $2. Do you cook for Vincent and keep him Dre? Oh, you're funny, Dre. You're funny. You and RuPaul, your boyfriend. Okay, there we go. SJ, 2 Canadian bucks. Aaron, do you still incrementally buy Bitcoin or not? No, I don't. I mean, and it's not that I pay attention to it. It's like, how much? No. And I already have my position in Bitcoin, so I'm good to go. And there's only time is the ultimate resource. I don't have that much time. For the past almost 9 months, it's been full-time working on the house and full-time working on this stuff, which admittedly isn't a real job. And I don't, like to show you how short of time I am, I just spent the full 7,500. That's the max I could invest, because it's 25% your income or less. I forget what it was. So my SEP IRA, my max is 7,500, and I just cut a check, dropped that off in the S&P 500. Boom, I was done. I didn't even care what the price was. So I don't really keep tabs on different asset categories. But yeah, if Bitcoin were to come down, sure, I wouldn't mind picking up a little bit more. Like even silver, I got plenty of silver, I got plenty of guns, I got plenty of bullets, but it's like you could always use more. Or if you find a good price, I go to the Fleet Farm. Like, oh, they got 9mm ammo in stock. Maybe that's not too bad. I'll pick up a box or two. Yeah, you got to be adjustable, be fluid. Be like water. Water. Waltz for Venus. Taekwondo, prioritize over cats. Yes, another name for cats. Yes. Look, we could talk about 401ks, IRAs. You could get a degree in it and not exactly be a completely inapplicable degree. Like financial planning, that's a profession. That is a profession. Accounting, taxes, those are all legitimate professions, I would say. But there's some simple stuff to do. Like the advice I give everyone, you want to avoid poverty? I joke, like, how do you get, the black man out of poverty? Well, don't commit no crime. Don't get people pregnant or have more kids than you can afford. And don't major in stupid stuff. And it's kind of tongue in cheek because that's the advice I give to everybody. And if everybody just follows that, don't major in stupid stuff, don't have kids you can't afford, don't commit crime, and then I guess spend less than you make, you're not going to fail unless something truly out of your control, like you get hit by a truck, okay? Or a meteorite hits you, or you get struck down with a disease, in which case genuine charity should be given to you. But another simple one, guys, don't put girls number one in your life. Stop chasing tail. Invest in yourself. Work a separate job. Me and my buddy, we were talking we would have easily had doctorates before we were like 26 with the amount of effort we put into chasing girls. And not the doctorate would have paid off a lot, but I could have certainly been a professor. I would have made a lot more money than I did the current route I went. And you're not gonna miss out on anything. Just go up to a girl you think is cute and ask her out. That's it. That's all you do. Don't go to the nightclubs. Don't be online dating. You meet for coffee dates. You have to guard your time from these time vampires. You go out on a couple dates. She mentions she's a Marxist, so she doesn't believe in sex or before me. Boom, cut it. Boom, done. See you, bye. And you get back to work. Or just having fun. Dude, okay, maybe you don't want to go work another job. I get that. But can you go do reconnaissance? How hard is it to choose? All right, I'm not going to chase tail, but I am going to go on a road trip. That's fun. And it's going to pay you off. It's going to pay off way more than getting stood up, looking at her picture on the internet, then looking at the girl sitting across her like, oh, was this from the Bush Senior administration you took this? Oh, and you have 4 kids you failed to mention on your dating profile. Ah, I see. Nonstop Dre 362 bucks. Are you visiting Chad's parents for Thanksgiving? No, I should. Chad's going to visit a lady. He's visiting a lady friend. Yeah. Speaking of chasing tail. Chad looks like he doesn't. Chad doesn't look like he eats. But the girl he's going to go see is going to try her best to fatten him up. That's how good girls lock you down. They fatten you up so you can't run away, and they still have sex with you even though you're fat. That's how they do it. That's how you know the girls likes you. Taekwondo, €2. Don't get biatches pregnant by Aaron Clary. Yep. that's gonna. I've been meaning to write that. God, I have so much stuff I've been meaning to do, and this all gets in the way. Fred Freeman Solo, $2. Hey, how you doing, Fred? $2. Gen Z gal on trays blabbering on the phone. Solipsism. What's she talking about? Anything intelligent? You don't have to answer that, Fred. We all know the answer. All right, there you go. Questions, answers. ASO Consulting. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.